From Maine and Gervais, this is ABC Columbia News.
Again, our hearts are broken. Forest Acres is a small community, small police department. We're one big family.
The raw pain of Chief Gene Seeley's voice as he addresses a community today requesting prayers for a police family and a young family at home tonight who will not see a husband, father, and officer killed in the line of duty today. Thanks for watching this evening. I'm Ben Hoover.
And I'm Alicia Barnes. We have heavy hearts tonight. Forest Acres police officer Greg Alia was shot and killed during what police are calling a struggle with a suspect at Richland Mall.
That suspect was arrested, and we just learned before this newscast that he has been charged with murder by sled. Our Beth Rousseau begins our team coverage tonight from the Forest Acres Police Department, where families have been coming by all day, dropping off flowers and just addressing what happened today in the community.
Ben, Alicia, a very somber mood here outside the Forest Acres Police Department tonight. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and let you look behind me. The flag is actually flying at half staff. It was lowered earlier this afternoon as the department mourns the loss of Officer Greg Alia. Alia was one of 3 officers who responded to the Richland Mall earlier this morning, and the events that followed have hearts breaking throughout the Forest Acres community. Law enforcement response to an early morning call turns to tragedy.
7:54 this morning, a bank employee called in an individual observed sitting in a van at the mall.
According to Forest Acres Police Chief Gene Seeley, Officer Greg Alia and 2 others approached the individual in the van when they arrived on scene. Seeley says that when officers attempted to speak with the suspect, he fled on foot into the mall and the officers pursued.
Short ways into the wall, Officer Greg Alia encountered the individual and a struggle. During the struggle, this individual drew a handgun and shot Officer Alia.
That gunshot wound claimed the life of 32-year-old Officer Greg Alia.
What a tragic day here in Forest Acres.
Police have since identified the man they believe is responsible as 34-year-old Jarvis Hall. The officers who were with Alia at the time of the shooting were able to capture Hall, who authorities say was armed with a knife in addition to the handgun. Now, as authorities continue to search for answers, those close to the slain officer are left to grieve.
We just hope that everybody prays for Greg's family. They will need strength as well as the Forest Acres community.
Now, as you mentioned earlier, we have been informed that Jarvis Hall has in fact been officially charged with the murder of Officer Greg Alia. We'll have more coming up for you here. For now, live outside the Forest Acres Police Department, Beth Rousseau, ABC Columbia News.
All right, thank you, Beth. And with so many ties to the community, we're learning more tonight about Officer Greg Alia, a man who laid down his life in service for his community.
Our Eric Weisfeld spent some time at the scene, the Richland Mall today, and he learned more about a man who the chief said came there 7 years ago to the department with a fresh face and developed into a role model.
He was in the prime of his life with a wife, a brand new baby, a career he loved in a community he grew up in and died right here defending. Just 32 years old, Officer Greg Alia was a 7-year veteran on the force, and there's no mincing words with regard to his character.
He was an outstanding young man. He was an outstanding police officer. He was a role model for our new police officers. In fact, today he started training an officer.
Officer Greg Alia came to the department as a fresh local face, having joined the force after graduating from Richland Northeast High School and then USC. He was one of Columbia's own, always had been. The grieving process will understandably be very hard.
We just hope that everybody prays for Greg's family. They will need strength as well as the Forest Acres community.
Again, Officer Greg Alia leaves behind his wife, Cassie, a brand new baby son, Sal. His parents both live in Forest Acres as well. In Forest Acres, I'm Eric Weisfeld, ABC Columbia News.
And as we learn more about Officer Alia in the sequence of today's events, the Forest Acres community is rallying together. I think so many of the details of this, that he was shot inside that mall, and so many families take their children to the theater there, to Barnes & Noble to look at books, and just the fact that he was just so young and has a young family at home.
Absolutely. ABC Columbia's Jennifer Reddy joins us live right now from the Forest Acres Police Department, where a memorial is already set up. Jennifer?
and Alicia, it's been a very solemn atmosphere here at the Forest Acres Police Department, where you can see behind me as I step aside the dozens of flowers people have laid on top of the patrol car. Now, this is just one of the several ways this community has come together to mourn today during a time of tragedy. Outside the Forest Acres Police Department, the flag flies at half-staff, while bouquets of flowers lay underneath in honor of fallen Officer Greg Alia, who was shot and killed early Wednesday morning in the line of duty.
As mothers, as community members, it was very tragic.
Amid news of the tragedy, Ann Reynolds and dozens of other residents flooded the Forest Acres Police Department to pay their respects to Officer Alia and the entire department, who lost one of their own.
It was the first thing that we could think to do. We didn't know what else to do, so we thought, well, if we can support the police department by bringing them something to eat, that's the least we could do for all that they did for us.
Residents and business owners in the area describe the Forest Acres community as close-knit. And it's this togetherness that Jack Oliver says drove the Forest Acres Restaurant and Merchant Association to immediately set up a GoFundMe page to help the family of Officer Alia.
Just to make their life a little bit easier, not having to have any financial concerns as they go through this tragic process.
While the grieving process is just beginning for this Forest Acres community, residents say they will unite to move forward.
Prayer, and I hope that everyone can just come together like we have every time and just take care of each other.
Now, guys, within the last hour that we've been out here, people have continued to come out here and pay their respects. But if you wish to donate, you can find the link to the GoFundMe page on our website, abccolumbia.com. Officials also say you can go to MBSC Bank on Trenham Road here in Forest Acres, or come to the Forest Acres Police Department to donate. From Forest Acres, Jennifer Reddy, ABC Columbia News.
All right, thank you, Jennifer.
I just checked the GoFundMe page, by the way. It is up to nearly $60,000, and that is raised in only 5 hours. $60,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Forest Acres Mayor Frank Brunson released a statement today on behalf of his community. Our Forest Acres Police Department puts themselves on the line for us every day with no expectations of thanks, reward, or thoughts for their own safety. Well, today that risk was revealed as we mourn the tragic murder of Officer Gregory Alia. The town of Forest Acres is a close-knit family, and the entire community is heartbroken. We're coming together to support our police officers and the Alia family. We will continue to care for and support his newborn son, wife, and parents. We ask that everyone pray for and think about the Alias as we honor Greg's memory and follow his lead of service above self. And Ben, you bring up a really good point about Richland Mall in terms of how many people actually go to Richland Mall. It's kind of an empty mall, but you know, I go there after work to walk. You bring your kids there, Barnes and Noble. You know, just something that we would not have expected in a close-knit community like Forest Acres.
That's right. That's right. And we'll have more on Officer Alia throughout the evening when you join us for the news at 11.
Right. And we reported to you in terms of the suspect, Jarvis Hall. He has been charged with murder and has 2 charges of attempted murder. So who is he? Well, the man suspected of shooting and killing a Forest Acres police officer is no stranger to trouble with the law.
Our Grace Joyle dug into Hall's background today, and Grace, he does have a record, but nothing as serious as what happened today.
That's right, Ben and Alicia. Jarvis Hall is already in the system, and according to the arrest warrant from the State Law Enforcement Division, which has charged Hall with murder, the handgun that he used today was actually stolen from Lexington County on September 2nd. I requested Hall's arrest record with SLED. His other run-ins with police are all misdemeanors. Back on August 30th, Hall was arrested by the Columbia Police Department for failure to comply. He was convicted on that charge. And more than 10 years ago, Hall was arrested in May of 2004 on charges of prostitution and unlawful carrying of a weapon. He was convicted on the weapons charge and paid a fine of about $1,100. The question investigators are now faced with is, why would a man with only misdemeanors to his name allegedly shoot and kill a police officer? What was Hall doing at the Richland Mall so early this morning? Officials worked into the afternoon interviewing him. The 34-year-old is a resident of Leesburg Road in Eastover. He was booked into the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center here in Richland County this evening. So far, Hall is charged with murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and possession of a weapon during a deadly crime. If Hall is convicted, the murder charge alone could get him the death penalty or send him to prison for a minimum of 30 years. The detention center tells me Hall's first court appearance is set for tomorrow afternoon at 2. And of course, ABC Columbia News will have a crew on scene to bring you the very latest. Live in the studio, Grace Joyle, ABC Columbia News.
Grace, thanks so much. I keep going back to this GoFundMe page that has been established for the Alia family. They first started with a $25,000 goal. They have now upped that to $100,000. If you go to the site, you'll see that one of the organizers said that they're also trying to set up with this money a scholarship fund for his newborn son.
And very interesting to point out, when they first started this GoFundMe account, within 3 hours, 10 people raised $20,000.
It was quick.
So this is a community effort.
That's right. And if you're not comfortable with donating online, you can always drop a card or a donation in the mail to the Forest Acres Police Department. We'll put that address on our Facebook pages. Again, the Midlands community in mourning tonight following the loss of a Forest Acres Police Department officer.
Next, continuing our coverage of the sacrifice made by Officer Greg Alia. Thank you for joining us tonight. Again, our top story, a Forest Acres Police Department officer shot and killed in the line of duty.
It happened this morning. Police say it took place after Officer Greg Alia responded to a call of a suspicious person near Richland Mall. In fact, in the parking lot of the Bank of America right next to that mall. According to investigators, a man by the name of Jarvis Hall was arrested shortly after the shooting in connection with the officer's death. Support for the Forest Acres Police Department has been pouring in from law enforcement agencies and institutions across the Midlands and really across the country.
Right, I mean, because he went to high school here, he went to college here, a lot of community support, and Officer Alia's alma mater, the University of South Carolina, released this tweet, quote, "Our thoughts are with the family and friends of this brave member of our Carolina and Columbia family." The Richland County Sheriff's Department tweeting, Officer Greg Alia killed in the line of duty on Wednesday, September the 30th, 2015. The Richland County Sheriff's Department sends condolences to the family and friends of our departed brother. Rest in peace. Well, as a reminder, the community that Officer Greg Alia served is coming together to help raise money for the Alia family. We've been talking about the GoFundMe page.
Who set that page up? Well, it was the Forest Acres Restaurant and Merchant Association. They set up this page. I'm also hearing from a friend of Officer Alia's that all of the money will go towards the family, especially the newborn son, potentially a scholarship that will be set up for him. And Stephen Oliver, who is part of the Merchant Association, is asking that you donate what you think you can to help the Alia family. Again, a young family, a young wife and a newborn son right there. This GoFundMe page, we have put a link on our website, abccolumbia.com, and so far they are close to $60,000, and that's only 1,200 people giving in about 5 hours. Right. That's amazing.
We'll have more. Please stay with us.
Evening to you. Reg Taylor here now as we're talking about the Gamecocks traveling to Mizzou coming up this weekend on Saturday. Game gets started about midday or so. Tailgate conditions look great. Temperature right around 50 cool degrees, 53 down to about 65. So it's really going to be nice throughout the game coming up over in Missouri for this one. Also a little closer to home and certainly much wetter will be the Clemson game coming up as Notre Dame comes over there. And so we're looking at temperatures into the 60s to about 58 after the game, and of course some showers on the way as well. Well, let's talk about this. 84 cloudy skies right now, northwest winds at 3, and not a bad day today. This is not as soggy as some of the others have been here recently, but this fetch of cloud cover and shower activity will stick around with us as we've of course got a wave of low pressure here, another monster storm just off the coast. Thanks to Joaquin happening out here. As you can see, the brighter white cloud tops. This storm has potential of really getting its act together and producing just tons of rain. So here you can see this is a Category 1 hurricane, Category 2 hanging out towards the Bahamas, then moving up towards the coast. Look at this potential Category 3 hurricane, a beam almost of South Carolina, and then potentially we don't know this for sure just yet, but the models suggest that Washington, D.C. could be a bullseye for the heavier precipitation. We could get some out of this too, and we could be looking at anywhere from 3 to 6 inches potential here as they get nearly a foot of rain up to our north. So we will watch this very carefully to see how this works over the next couple of days here. But nonetheless, this storm sits out here. All this moisture still riding back our way, so the opportunity for some serious wet conditions will be coming up here. 68 scattered showers in our forecast for tonight, and then for the next couple of days, we're looking at that shower potential into the weekend, drying off next week with mostly sunny skies and highs in the mid-70s. We'll have more for you coming up. Stay with us.
Sports on ABC Columbia is presented by Midland's Orthopedics with offices in downtown, Irmo, and West Columbia. Midland's Orthopedics. Advanced options. Skilled specialists.
Next year will be in my last year in the Sprint Cup Series.
The Smoke Show is coming to a close. Hi, I'm Tim Hill. We'll have more from Tony Stewart in a minute. Football first, though. Clemson kicking off its primetime, almost top 10 matchup with Notre Dame right here on ABC Columbia just after 8 o'clock Saturday night. ESPN Game Day is back in Tiger Town. Last time it was there, best video bomb ever. This was just before Jameis Winston, Florida State, got a big win in Death Valley 2 years ago. Bill Murray ended up busting out the golf club, saying hello to Kirk Herbstreit and the boys. Lee Corso ended up in full Seminole attire. Quite the scene. The Tigers getting plenty of pregame hype today on ESPN as well, asking quarterback Deshaun Watson about dropping a spot in the polls last week, a bye week.
Yeah, it's kind of like I guess a little slap in the face. You know, we weren't able to play and show what we had last week. And so, you know, this week is a big week for us to, you know, show the world that we can play. I mean, you know, we're a top 10 team, and, you know, we're ready to, you know, prove it.
Touchdown, Clemson.
How many people get the opportunity to compete and do something you love doing, but yet everybody's watching? And I just think that's awesome. And so you embrace that and go have fun with it.
Watson, a sophomore quarterback, of course. Notre Dame starting a freshman. A couple of more freshman QBs will start in the Carolina-Missouri game. Lorenzo Nunez coming off career start #1. The more experienced QB going into Saturday's SEC ball game. Missouri freshman Drew Lock gets career start #1 after the Tigers suspended junior Matty Mock. Lock has played in each of Missouri's 4 games this season, going 15 out of 25 passing with a touchdown and an interception. Nunez, impressive in his first full game last Saturday against Central Florida, running for more than 120 yards, throwing for more than 180 and 2 touchdowns. Being a freshman and being a leader, not a problem, the way the new Carolina QB sees it.
I mean, we're all people. I really don't see it that way, like age-wise. I just go out there and just try to tell them like things to do, and they tell me what some things to do since I'm young. I think I have to take a bigger role in being a team leader. Even though I'm a freshman, I can do that since people believe in me on the team.
Tony Stewart's Sprint Cup team will be dramatically changing pretty soon. Today, the man they call Smoke officially announcing that 2016 will be his last year as a Sprint Cup driver. Clint Boyer will take over his number 14 car, and Stewart will be sticking around as an owner. Hear more from him tonight at 11 o'clock. That'll do it for sports right now. You're watching ABC Columbia News at 6.
Here's another look at your 7-day forecast as we talk about rain, compliments potentially of not just Joaquin, but other storm systems moving through before the cold front gets here. High temperatures will back off a bit on Friday, Saturday, and then warm back up into the mid-70s next week as we dry out. We just have to get there first. We'll talk more about rainfall potential tonight.
All right, thank you, Reg. We take you live now. One last time to the Forest Acres Police Department, where today they lost one of their own.
The flags are at half staff. There are flowers sitting on the patrol car sitting out front that have been dropped off by the community today. Officer Greg Alia was shot and killed this morning at Richland Mall. He was only 32 years old. He leaves behind a young wife and a newborn baby boy.
Yeah. Well, for now, you've been watching ABC Columbia News 6. We thank you for making us your choice for news.